I think it's time for a rebranding. Maybe instead I'll try and make this more appropriate for edgelords. So from now on, we're going to play some butt rock in the background. And as for the boss, he can just totally get wrecked. That's what the gangsters say, ain't it? Hello everyone, this is the Mississippi King, welcoming y'all back to more Let's Play Ocarina of Time Mississippi Dukes, and in this episode we are actually going to tackle the boss of the Water Temple. And this boss is actually kind of annoying, but not really. Well, actually, he can be fairly tough, especially if you're not used to his pattern. But yeah, this is now going to be a new version of the Mississippi King, the one that is more appropriate for them edgelords. Isn't that part of my audience? Of course, I have no idea. But here he is, the boss room. So what's this guy called? It's the Giant Aquatic Amoeba Morpha. On a side note, an amoeba is actually a real-life organism. It actually isn't. It kind of resembles the amoeba like the boss here, because it's like basically they have this sort of amorphous body structure with many multiple nuclei that contain the DNA of the things. And in this case, for some reason, it only has one nucleus. Yeah, that contains the DNA. And basically, they can morph their body structure and shift because of how fluid it is. And, yeah, it's actually real. Of course, they don't ever get this big. There's a reason this is called the Giant Aquatic Amoeba. So, yeah, it's actually a real thing. And they actually can form several limb-like structures. This would actually have way more nuclei than just one. And they'd also be a lot smaller than this. Well, the nuclei, that is. They're like microscopic. And true, I think some amoebas can actually get to be macroscopic size, but never are their nuclei that big. But anyway, with regards to turning this channel into an edgelord utopia, or whatever, maybe I'm actually just confusing it with the hipsters. I mean, of course, if you're watching my stuff, you're probably a hipster. I'm just kidding, seriously, lighten up. But I actually do appreciate everyone who watches my content, even though I'm consistently sucking at this boss fight, seriously. I mean, hopefully I can beat this punk without dying, but I make no promises, Internet. That is the one thing y'all need to understand, Mississippi Dukes. I think the Mississippi Dukes may have some hipster tendencies, I'm just saying, but I do appreciate you and your continued support of my channel. You know, all 5 of you. But nevertheless, this fight is pretty tricky, Or at least I seem to suck at it a lot. And the fluid there, that's not actually that's not actually water, that, well, I mean, it kind of is, but it's the body of the amoeba. Okay, okay. Y'all ain't hipsters, okay? Calm down. Now this is... y'all just like obscure stuff, okay? That'll make you a person a hipster. Well, not necessarily, anyway. And the whole thing about making this an edgelord utopia, that's not actually the case. That's just an April Fool's joke. A late April Fool's joke. No, actually, an early April Fool's joke. Yes, I am not going to let this year's April Fool's joke be late. I'm going to actually get it early this time. To make up for it. I'm not sure that's how it works, though, but whatever. Yes! I defeated this punk with 3 hearts remaining! Okay, more like 2.5. But still, that makes me better than NCS's LP! I did better than his version! I don't know whether that's really much to be comparing myself to, but nevertheless, I still did not get beaten around as much as he did, so yay. Anyway, this guy is at last dead. We defeated this amoeba. I'm not quite sure how that's relevant to making this an edgelord utopia, but yeah, we are done. And considering everything we've been through, I'd say you actually did pretty decent in the water temple, I must say. I mean, it could have gone worse. I'm actually surprised I managed to get it done in just 3 videos. And in the 3rd video, it was really just the boss. So that's pretty impressive. It's actually better than the forest temple. Like, that's interesting. Like, that's insane. I beat the forest temple in 3 videos, 3 full videos, and I get through the entirety of the water temple minus the boss in 2 videos. And in the 3rd, I beat the boss relatively early on. So that's fantastic, and given how little time's passed, I mean, I may as well do a few other things for the rest of the video. I mean, this would be a pretty short video if I just left it at that, so yeah. Now we meet up with Princess Ruto, and she tells us some stuff about how we can't really, how, like, she understands how we, like, can't really marry her and whatnot, so, yeah. And, yeah, that is really it. That is all for the water temple. And, as for what's next, what dungeon's next, that is, it's actually the Fire Temple. Now, normally you'd do the Fire Temple first, because, like, that's just what the game points you towards, but, it doesn't really matter which one you do first. I wanted to do this one first. I mean, the thing is, like, there are advantages to doing either one first. With the Fire Temple, if you get the Fire Temple done first, then there is, like, one thing that you get that is actually really neat. And that's actually pretty good. So you'll want to get the thing. And this thing is something that I am not going to spoil. But suffice it to say, it is pretty good. And some may argue it's more worth it than the long shot. I disagree, however. And with the long shot, we can actually get a lot more gold Skulltulas, and that is definitely a plus. That is very convenient. And now that the water temple is done, we can actually get another item. If I'm not mistaken, this one's optional. Of course, I'm not quite sure, but nevertheless, it is still something that I want to get. I mean, this is a 100% playthrough after all. It wouldn't exactly be 100% if we didn't get this. Actually, it's not that useful in this game. I mean, it can be, but in Majora's Mask, it's actually way more useful because it wasn't designed as an afterthought. But nevertheless, I think that's all. At least for the moment. I will meet you at Kakariko Village. And we're here at Kakariko Village. Now, I switched to the green tunic just because, like, let's be honest, Link was born for green. I realize it has no advantages, but what we want to do is to actually stop by the House of Skulltula because, well, we have another 10 Skulltulas, so we get another reward. And what's that? A piece of heart. So that's pretty convenient. Or maybe not convenient, but that's rather nice. It's good to have a piece of heart. And speaking of which, that's actually going to be our next objective here in Kakariko Village. We're heading to the graveyard. Because, you know how I said Dampe had a reward for beating him? A second time, that is. Well, now it's time to actually get that reward. You actually have to beat him in under a minute, if I'm not mistaken. And now that we have a long shot, that is definitely going to be made easier because there's a big shortcut we can take near the end. It's gonna come in handy quite a bit. But it's pretty much the same as last time, you just have to race him a second time. I mean, I don't know what else I can say to this, it's just the exact same as before. And you gotta get it done in less than a minute. And now that we can take a huge shortcut, that shouldn't be too much of a problem, but you don't want to cut it too close. Okay, as always, you want to keep an eye out on where the flame is, so you know which path to take. It's the same path as before, just keep an eye out on it, because you do not want to get lost here. And here it is. That torch right there, you can actually hookshot to it. And that's the shortcut I was telling you all about. It is really handy, boy, I tell ya. And we've beaten Dampe in less than a minute. So that means we get another piece of heart. And with that, we're actually down to the last 5 heart pieces in the game. Yep. And actually there's I believe I know where all 5 of them are, too, so... And as for one of them, there's actually... We can actually get to one of them right now, or rather, shortly, but we're actually heading in the general direction, but as for that one, well... I'm kind of debating as to whether or not I'm going to get it before or after the Fire Temple, because it's like, I don't exactly want to rush through this game, but at the same time, I want each episode to have some decent progress, and that's definitely a way to do that. So it's like, I'm kind of conflicted. But, yeah, there are only 4 more hard pieces in the game. I've actually made some pretty decent progress. Are you getting emotional? Not really, because it's not that close to the end of the game yet. But, yeah, after we get the reward from this dungeon, well, after we beat this dungeon, that is, we'll actually be able to take on 2 different dungeons in either order we please. As you could tell, Death Mountain wasn't exactly looking too good. So let's investigate the cause of that. Here in Goron City, there's actually another Goron who is rolling. And this one is actually not the big one from before. Okay, you don't grow that bigger. Okay. But there is a small one running around, and we can actually get something right here. And we ain't got enough money for it. That's kind of a shame. And the thing you get here is really good. It's totally worth the 200 rupees you have to pay for it. I assure y'all, it is absolutely worth it. What, you say I'm being sarcastic? Of course not! Why would I do that? But actually, we want to stop this rolling Goron, and he's actually kind of useful because, unlike before, I am not going to be spending money on getting the tunic for this region at the shop, because that's just stupid. I ain't gonna be a dingus like before. Okay, if you actually talk to this guy, he's actually M. King. That's his name anyway. But he'll actually give you the red tunic. Well, the fire tunic, actually. My mistake. And this actually makes you relatively immune to fire damage, or maybe not fire damage per se, but it does allow you to withstand fire and walk on most lava. And that's pretty convenient. However, you do still slowly take damage when you're walking on lava, so you may want to watch out. But it's not a serious issue. And it also allows you to run around in the Death Mountain crater indefinitely, in case y'all don't remember. It actually... Well, when you go to the Death Mountain crater without the Fire Tunic, you would actually have to help to survive a time limit. Because, like, if you don't get out of there within the time limit, then, well, you are pretty much toast. Pun partially intended. And as for what I think about the Fire Temple, it's actually not too bad. I mean, it's better than the Water Temple, but I wouldn't say it's on par with, like, the Shadow Temple. Well, no, I mean the Forest Temple, my bad. I mean, I guess the Forest Temple is a pretty tough act to follow, so it makes sense, but anyway, there's actually a Skulltula. But what I want to do first is to make a block appear. Yeah, it kind of sucks that the Song of Time just moves blocks. Like, seriously, you have like some awesome song called the Song of Time, and what's it do? All it does is it causes blocks to appear and disappear. Fantastic! That is just really... That's kind of a waste! I mean, that's definitely something that is better about Majora's Mask, is that the Song of Time actually has a use, a real use, like, it doesn't just cause you to move blocks and stuff like that. It actually does serve a purpose, but yeah, it's strange that in a game called Ocarina of Time that would be the thing that it would do, that all it would be used for is moving blocks and opening the door of time once. But actually, there was a gold Skulltula earlier, and that path I took was completely pointless because there was nothing interesting in that place. But what you want to do is to actually get to the Skulltula, so that's definitely something that is... Since I'm going for all 100, I may as well get that one. Better sooner than later, right? But, this part can be kind of... It's not immediately obvious, but, what you want to do is to go to Daruna's room and pull the block. You actually want to, like, pull the block. And so that by pulling the block, you actually can open a path to the Death Mountain crater. Yeah, you thought we were gonna have to climb the entire mountain. Nope. This is actually where we want to go. It's actually pretty important to go this way. You can head this way to find some boulders. And I'm gonna try and blow them up. It's kind of hard to tell whether they can be blown up in this kind of lighting, because like all the red kind of like distorts their actual colors, and it seems like I can't do that. So that's fantastic. Let's actually head this way. That's where we're supposed to go. And we meet up with Sheik. Well, Sheik once again tells us some stuff. But yeah, I find that a lot of what Sheik says is rather true. And well, Sheik will also teach us another song that can take us inside the Death Mountain crater. And so let's try and actually learn that song, shall we? If I can get it right. Seriously, I am screwing up on this way too much. This should not be that hard. But yeah, I also really enjoy the Bolero of Fire. It's a really great song, and I think it's definitely fitting for the Death Mountain crater. And after Sheik teaches us, of course, he's gonna go disappear like always, but who is this mysterious Sheik? Who could it be? I wonder. If you've played the game, you know exactly who he is, but I won't spoil it. And anyway, I think with that out of the way, that means that we are basically done with this part. So, see y'all next time. This is the Mississippi King signing out, and in the next episode, we'll probably take on the Fire Temple, although I may get a few stuff that I left behind.